Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen here. And so I think you need to stop sharing yours. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. All righty. All right. Well, that's going to be a hard one to follow. Really, really great to be here. Thank you so much again for having us. As I mentioned, my name is Alicia Robson. I am the coordinator of events and partnerships here at Infotech Research Group, and I get the privilege of being in front of you all today to be the bearer of good news. It's my favorite part of my job, so I'm going to share a little bit more about the partnership that we have arranged with SIM Arizona and what that means for you and how you can use these newly available resources to help you really thrive in what really is an ever-changing information technology environment. And that's really kind of the theme for our presentation tonight as well, is thriving through change. And I know that many of you are already familiar with us, and there are several members within Arizona who already utilize our resources. So the benefits of using research and making data-driven decisions, and just to help you get through many of your IT-related projects, this will be nothing new to you. But for those of you who aren't already familiar with Infotech and what we do, we are the world's fastest growing IT research and advisory company. So we've achieved that by producing research that's both unbiased and yet highly relevant. We're different from a lot of other research groups in that we also provide IT leaders with tools to make decisions that systematically improve performance year over year. So that means that we don't stop after we've helped you through this decision-making process. We really try to guide you more on a journey through your project. And how do we do that? Well, you don't get any white papers from us, for starters. We don't want to simply point things out or overload you with the data. Instead, we perform more as a practical and tactical approach. So our members get pre-built documentation. We call them blueprints. It gives them more of a roadmap to building these strategies, resulting in less capacity taken up, less time to implement and complete their projects, and more dollars saved in the process. We have over 100 research analysts and experts on staff, one of which you'll be hearing from shortly after myself, from all different areas of IT, but also representing all different industries. And these men and women not only are writing our research, but they are also interacting with our members. And as you can see here, I know what you might be thinking. Amazing, Alicia's about to give us all a high school chemistry class rundown of the periodic table. No, I would never put any of you through that. No, this is our IT management and governance framework. And this is really a great overview of our methodologies that are designed to improve core IT processes. And what does this mean for your community? Well, the leaders here at SIM wanted to be proactive in providing research for their members in a time where I think we can all agree heavily needed, considering how crucial and, dare I say, critical IT has become for every organization right now. This management and governance framework is a great resource that we use in conjunction with your leadership team here at SIM Arizona, and we pull from these subject matters when selecting what complementary research we are going to provide for your community. So once you sign up, you actually can continue to receive complementary pieces of our research on a rotating basis. These are all curated and selected by your association to meet the needs of your society. And that's kind of the first key aspect to our partnership, is the select content that we are providing to you as an additional benefit for being a member of SIM Arizona. The next piece here is that we have several diagnostics programs, and through our partnership, you now have access to one diagnostic selected for your association annually. And so I've got some more information here about the one that is selected for the SIM community. Don't let the name deter you. If you are not a CIO, any IT leader can implement this, and we are happy to extend the value of the diagnostic to whichever organization that you represent. So we all know stakeholder management, it's a critical aspect of running a successful IT department. So our CIO Business Vision Diagnostic is a low effort yet high impact program that provides detailed report cards on your organization's satisfaction with its key IT core services. It's extremely easy and it doesn't take long to run either. And after you participate in this diagnostic, you use these insights to understand your key business stakeholders and find out what's important to them and overall improve your interactions with them. Over 20 years of working with IT leaders and after talking with over 40,000 business leaders, we found that only 16% of business executives are actually satisfied with their IT department's performance. And that is a shocking statistic. But unfortunately, most of these leaders, they don't even know where they fall on the spectrum because they've never formally measured. So we want to help solve that. So after running this diagnostic, it's going to punch out some scorecards for you. You're going to get things like the IT satisfaction report card, and that measures the satisfaction with your key decision makers annually. It's going to give you the IT capacity report card, which shows the demands on IT by each department. You're going to get the various stakeholder satisfaction report cards as well, and these measure the satisfaction with each department. But why do you need this? You know, and who even looks forward to report cards anyways, right? It's funny, my kids just got their mid-year report cards from school, and I don't even show them their grades because ultimately, I mean, I'm going to be the one that to use those results kind of behind the scenes and tailor how I interact with them moving forward, and then also to monitor what areas I need to focus my attention on as their leader and as an active participant in their academic careers. Because ultimately, I mean, having the data isn't everything. It's not even valuable if you're not going to put it to use, right? So we want you to do that. And so you can use the research and the results of this diagnostic as you see fit to show that, you know, not only do you care about satisfaction, but beyond that, we know that departmental alignment and senior stakeholder alignment, you know, that's a frequent struggle. I mean, like the scorecards that you get from this diagnostic, it's going to enable you to demonstrate the demands on IT to the CEO and executives. It's going to help you communicate capacity issues. And should you choose to share these results, then the next time that you approach them for resources, you got some data to back things up, right? Back up these requests. You can also use the results to manage the needs of individual business leaders and prioritize which departments to focus on. Our diagnostic itself carries a value of about $6,000, and SIM members now have complimentary access to this. So I'm actually going to use this time to drop a link in your chat as well. If I can get back to the chat, there we go. So you can visit our landing page. So we have a partnership page here to take advantage of these benefits simply by signing up to receive them. It's that easy. SIM Arizona is also going to send out some quick instructions if you don't get a chance to do this today. In the coming days, that will give you a little bit more detailed outline of how you can gain access to this. But if you're here today, I encourage you at some point, either throughout the presentation or afterwards, to visit that partnership page there. All you have to do is sign up for it, and then you'll immediately get an email in your inbox. It's got the downloads, the research that was selected by SIM Arizona for your community embedded right there. So you don't have to wait to speak to anybody to get them. And a part of what you will receive as well is the research that coincides with the keynote that you're about to hear as well. And I also understand that we've got some guests here today as well. And if these tools are, you know, you think they would be beneficial to you either as a leader or within your own organization, you can gain access to them as well by just exploring a membership with SIM Arizona. They are a fantastic community. We've been working with them for a few months now, kind of establishing this partnership. They really want to enable their members, and we're happy to partner with them to continue their efforts in doing so. So thank you very much for having me here today. I look forward to continue to providing your network with some resources. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to our speaker for the evening. So David is a research lead here at Infotech, where he leads emerging trends, innovation, IT strategy, and digital transformation research. He's previously worked as a foresight strategist as well with a company called Idea Couture. They're one of the world's leading innovation consulting firms, and he has honed his analytic capabilities in the Government of Canada, where his reports reached all levels of government, including the Prime Minister's office. He's also played a key role in bringing a number of high-tech and clean tech ventures to the market in Canada as well. So without further ado, I should say, I'm going to turn it over to David Glazer.
Awesome. Folks, thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you for the introduction. It's a great pleasure and privilege to be speaking with you today. And I'm really excited to share with you some of the insights from our 2021 Tech Trends report. As Alicia alluded to, the theme for our report this year is how do we thrive during periods of disruptive change? Of course, everyone knows what I'm talking about. We're all working from home. We've had a collective shock to the system. And while terms like resilience and how do we bounce back, concepts like that are really permeating through the discourse. It's important to ask ourselves, well, do we think actually that change is going to slow down, or is it going to continue to speed up? And at Infotech, we think that it's probably going to continue to speed up. And so the question then becomes, how do we position our organizations to benefit from a ongoing disruptive change? And that's where we jump off. And so without further ado, I would like to start with a pop quiz, because who doesn't like a pop quiz at the end of the day? The students are probably like, I just got done this. What do HP, GE, General Motors, IBM, Trader Joe's, Salesforce, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Disney, what do they all have in common? I'm not that mean. I'm going to give you the answer. They were all started in and around times of economic crisis. There's that saying that goes, never waste a good crisis, because crisis can equal opportunity. In fact, 3 out of 4 business executives believe that the current crisis that we're in right now will yield some significant new opportunities for their organizations. So let's talk about opportunity for a second. Starting with the change that was already happening. We are in a transitory period right now where in 2015, there were 15 billion connected devices on the planet. And by 2025, the expectation is we're going to have 75 billion connected devices on the planet. That's about 10 devices for every single human being walking, talking, breathing on the planet right now. And by the way, those devices will not be evenly distributed either. So there's another challenge there. From an IT leadership perspective, over half of the IT leaders that we spoke to believe that their roles are going to turn and focus on business transformation over the next 2 or 3 years. Now, we asked this question in 2019. I'm sure if we asked this question today, almost all of them would say, yeah, we're doing a business transformation right now, and we're heavily involved with that. And that leads me to the last point here, and that is things will never be the same. Only about 7% of the folks that we spoke to expect that they're going to be able to just revert to the way that their organization worked before the pandemic happened. So whatever the change has been, whether it's a new hybrid work from home / in the office situation, whether it's fully working from home, whether you've had to launch new products, or whatever it is, things aren't going back to the way they were. And that's really exciting. But the challenge is only 6% of the organizations that we spoke to feel that their IT departments are mature enough to enable or help support a business transformation. There's some things that they need to work out before they can do that. So, question is, as IT leaders, will your impact grow? Will it shrink? Will you transform? Or will you collapse? Well, We don't want that. So today we're going to share with you the trends that we believe are going to help folks adapt to change and absorb disruptive change when it happens. So just quickly, now we're going to go into each of these, but they span across new happenings in the AI machine learning space, new approaches to open innovation, skills that IT leaders can adopt to help them introduce new products into the market, new innovations into the market, in enabling a distributed workforce, enhancing the hybrid cloud environment, and driving sustainability through digital technologies. Let's start with the adapt trends. The adapt trends are all about opportunities to create a core of innovation that is continuously exploring new ways to diversify your business model. And one of the ways that business models are being diversified is through machine learning. Machine learning by design is our trend number one. This is harnessing machine learning as a core piece of the organization's value proposition. Now, there's a lot of excitement surrounding machine learning, mainly because of viral videos like this. This is from Boston Dynamics. It's their autonomous robots that were busting a move all across the internet. You folks might have liked and shared these videos yourselves. Now these, I mean, they're good. They're not quite Dave Glazer dance floor good, but they're okay. But robots like this aren't really impacting our day-to-day lives too much just yet. I mean, the one that looks like a yellow pooch, that's Spot. Spot's been used for some crowd disbursement situations, bomb sniffing on oil rigs to investigate when a pipe has busted, when it's too dangerous to send a human being. But outside of those sort of niche use cases, we're not really seeing this yet. What we are seeing is something a bit more subtle. In 2017, 1/3 of people did not know whether their last interaction with a brand was with a human being or not. Now, that was 4 years ago. Imagine if we asked this question now. Now, this is from PwC, but imagine if this question was asked now. Now that we're all at home, no one's going into physical locations, or far less. This is one of the ways that advanced automation is starting to impact our day-to-day lives. Now, of course, the example I'm just alluded to, excuse me, is the use of a chatbot, right? Many firms are adopting machine learning capabilities to assist with some business processes, be they customer service interactions, or in the back office using robotic process automation to automate the more mundane data entry tasks. Let's say, the Control A, the Control C, Control V, and so on and so forth, ad nauseum. And that's all great and useful. But unlocking the real potential won't happen until it is baked into the core value proposition of a business. That is where the new billion-dollar business categories are going to come from. There's a wave of machine learning driven business models on the horizon as this technique begins to move up the value chain. And so what do I mean by that? Consider the example that I gave of adopting a chatbot. Let's say it's for a retail business. Okay, that is great. It's going to help your customer service answer the repetitive questions more efficiently, but it's not going to give you a competitive advantage over anyone else. Lots of people are adopting chatbots. It's pretty common now. What would be different, though, is a retail business, or let's say a manufacturing business, applying machine learning to help them figure out what products to even produce, help them avoid strategic error. That's a more core role of machine learning in an organization, and that's what we're starting to see. Example, let's look at the fashion industry. Now, some of you folks may or may not know, the global streetwear market makes $185 billion in sales annually, and it's growing quite rapidly, but it faces some key challenges. The first is mass consumerism. It takes about 2,700 liters of water to make one new cotton t-shirt. I'll let that sink in just for a second. That's a lot of water. In terms of right-sizing the inventory, many retailers or manufacturers have a minimum threshold, a minimum bar of units to make for any given design. So if that idea is a miss, it can be a lot of waste. Some of these minimum bars are as high as 1 million units. So that is a million misses if no one wants your product. The next challenge is a long product cycle. So it can take about 5 months typically to go from design to sale of a new product. Enter Urban Cool Lab. This is a startup that has put 2.5 years of development into AI algorithms that are capable of turning an influencer's brand into a viable clothing design. So the algorithm kind of scours the internet, finds what's sort of cool, what is being, what is working, and also what is to specification in terms of what the influencer wants to put out. And it helps them take a new design to market on the e-commerce site within 24 hours. It also makes the clothing to order, ensuring that nothing is wasted. So what is a differentiator that machine learning can, the differentiating impact that machine learning can have when it's baked into a company's business model? Well, look at this product cycle from 5 months to 24 hours. Another example, looking at the finance industry, using artificial intelligence, wealth managers can track in real time the sentiment of the market and try to predict the movement of tradable assets to provide sophisticated advice to their clients. These AI-powered indices, they present real-time insights on how an asset may superperform and predict whether it will result in a positive or a negative outcome. Now, according to MarketPsych, which is one such solution provider, the top 100 stocks measured by positive sentiment grew 14-fold, so 14 times over, between 1998 and 2018, which is about 7 times greater than the performance of the S&P over the same time frame. Turns out that people's opinion towards certain stocks, whether it can be, the fact that it can be measured on aggregate, can be used as an indicator as to which stocks can be purchased, and those usually do better. And something tells me that we're starting to factor in Reddit discussions a little bit more, folks. Of course, I'm referring to GameStop. Who bought GameStop? Huh? Not me, unfortunately. But this is another interesting example. Now, while this is all well and good, while startups are able to experiment with these types of value propositions, our research shows that 74% of established organizations won't be able to harness strategic machine learning for at least another 12 months. And what I mean by strategic machine learning in this case is, if we look at beyond just AI, but if we look at IT, most of IT, in terms of what the value provided within an organization, has been for activities that either occur during a sale or after a sale. This is like in a private sector context, at least. Pre-sale stuff like executive decision making, the CEO's sort of real-time provision of information, product development, insights. That's kind of untapped territory, and that's kind of what we mean by strategic when we think about machine learning. But there's some key challenges that are in the way, and I think 12 months is actually pretty optimistic for some of these folks. Some of the challenges: large organizations are stuck with legacy processes and technology stacks. No stranger to those conversations, I'm sure. They also have org structures that can make it hard to apply AI in a meaningful way. As a result, big firms are always behind the disruptive first movers. Of course, there's also scarcity of AI talent on the job market. But before we get to all of that, whose job even is this to lead in an organization? That is not well defined either. So if it was IT's job, it's not explicit at this point yet. In terms of the IT leaders that we surveyed as part of our research here, about half have no experience or are just curious and learning where they can apply machine learning right now. So you're not alone if you're in that boat. Many people are in that boat. Only about 2% are applying it more strategically, I'd say, and the rest are kind of in this POC, looking for a use case type of mode. Some of them have run pilots, so don't worry just yet, but this is definitely an area that's moving fast. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, where am I going to find the time to do this, or to apply effort here? That's where trend number 2 comes in. Trend number 2 is citizen development 2.0. It is the enabling of non-technical contributors to use and create AI combined with low-code and no-code environments. Professional developers are still the ones who manipulate APIs, control data flows, yes, but citizen developers can now step in, and it's requiring less and less of a technical skill set when combined with open frameworks and AI-assisted toolkits. In the public sector, we're very familiar with these with this concept. The use of developers outside the organization has been prevalent for quite some time. In Toronto, where I'm from, hence the turtleneck, it's cold outside. Volunteer civic tech groups and individuals have helped address issues like finding bicycle parking and even transit scheduling. We've got something called the TTC, Toronto Transit Commission. They've released the public transit information via open data, and a lot of folks have been able to build their own transit scheduling apps on that. And the biking example is another one where the city created a crowdsourced data solution called Bike Space, which allows cyclists to find parking near their location using a map. While citizen development is a concept that is typically associated with government, I want to tell you that this is not just a government thing. No, in fact, we've seen that with Power Apps, Salesforce, Lightning, etc., business users have been building applications for quite a while now, building tools at least, and so that's not really new. But what is new is the addition of AI algorithms to their low or no code tool kits, and this is powering a lot of very interesting developments in some unexpected areas, like genomics, for example. Harvard researchers, they recently engaged with a platform called Topcoder, which is a crowdsourced community, and they engage with them to generate algorithms on their behalf. Now, external contributors from this community were able to deliver a 976x increase to the computational speed in this given sort of challenge space versus the original algorithm. And they were also able to become more accurate in terms of the computation. So what does this mean in terms of terms a human mind can understand? What does 976x actually look like? Well, the pre-existing computational approach took 4 hours to produce a result that was 76% accurate. The crowdsourced approach took under a minute to spit out an 80% accurate answer. So 4% more accurate, but from 4 hours to 1 minute. Okay, that's some significant increase. Now, Topcoder features some technical talent, but on the horizon are toolkits like GPT-3, which is a protocol from OpenAI. It's a natural language processing protocol that helps people build applications just by telling the algorithm what they want to see. I'm going to show you a little demo here. So this is, everyone's seen this before, it's Excel. But what's happening here is the protocol is guessing the context. It knows that you want population. It's pulling it from the internet or somewhere, Wikipedia. You switch the state, it gives you Alaska's population. It gets you the founded date, but you're not needing to put in a formula or run or go find the information yourself. That's decently exciting. It's nothing too crazy. Next example, guessing context. It's understanding that not only are you looking for where, I'm going to pause this, not only are you looking for where these people work, it understands you're looking for what organization they founded. Okay, so Zuckerberg founded Facebook, Dorsey founded Twitter, Bezos founded Amazon, and Ben Horowitz, he founded a venture capital firm called Andreessen Horowitz. Another example right here is it understands that you're looking for Twitter accounts, yes, but not Michael Jordan, the basketball player, Michael B. Jordan, specifically the actor who played Wallace in The Wire. It's one of my favorite shows. Look it up if you haven't seen it before. Now, this is decently impressive. It's not going to break any frames or anything, but this technology is powering other tools like dbuild, which is a no-code tool that is used to build web apps from just the description of what they look like and how they will work. Here's an example of dbuild. So here we're asking it, build me a button that looks like a watermelon. Kind of random, but fine. Okay, it codes it, builds it. There you go. Large text that says, welcome to my newsletter, and a blue button that says subscribe. Well, okay, You have to be a bit more specific in terms of the coloring of the letters. So you say, okay, make it red. All right. Boom, codes it for you. There you go. Pretty quick. A button for every color of the rainbow. Takes a little longer to figure out what you mean, but there you go. Each color of the rainbow, and there's a button for it. Okay, you kind of get the idea here, and it goes on and it gets more and more complex. But imagine the time you can save by not having to code things yourself, just asking it to build what you want it to build. That's the idea. All right. Here we are. We are at poll question number 1. And for this question, we want to ask, what are the main challenges to adopting or scaling the use of low-code or no-code development tools at your organization? And this is a pick the top 3 poll. So can we run this? All right.
All right, everybody. You know how it works. Pick your top 3. There we go. Only one person. There we go. Come on. Click the buttons. Halfway there.
We're completionists, are we?
Well, we're 55%. Okay, 60. We're getting there.
For a survey response rate, that's pretty unprecedented, actually, in terms of volume of respondents.
I'm pushy, so I like people to participate.
We have a captive audience as well.
There's that. All right, we're at 65%. Yeah. We good?
I think so.
All right, so we're going to end polling.
Okay.
Ta-da! And
thank you so much.
Share results. There we go.
Show you quickly here the 2 top ones: difficulty governing the use of tools, difficulty in creating a strategy to benefit from the tool. So what are you going to get out of it? Lack of executive support is really interesting, and lack of capacity within IT to support tools. That's lower than what we saw in our results, and it's actually kind of cool to see that be a little bit lower, because this is one of those things where it's kind of like a rip the Band-Aid off type of thing. It will release some bandwidth. It might take some effort up front to do that. But definitely a consistent theme here is the difficulty governing the use of the tools. And for this, I think governance is a challenge for sure. The idea of what is core versus what is malleable, what you can play with, is an important governance decision. So let's say with Facebook, for example, external developers can build on Facebook, no problem. You can build games and stuff, but you cannot touch the news feed. Like, that is core. So that's no fly. So that's one thing, one decision point. The second is reversibility. So can you revert to the state, the pre-existing state? Not complete damage reversibility. That's probably impossible. But can you at least go back to the functionality that existed before exactly, and how hard is it to do that? So if you can't reverse the change, I don't think you should open it up if it matters. So that's a little bit on there. Wonderful, cool. Thanks for participating in that poll. That was fun. Okay, so let's say you do this. Let's say it frees up some time. What are you going to do with your newfound freedom? What are you going to do with that bandwidth? It's not time for early retirement just yet. At least those of us who didn't buy GameStop at $10. Trend number 3 is venture architecture, which is the developing and launching innovative new technology ventures from within IT. As it turns out, 53% of IT professionals say it is very important for their organizations to develop and introduce new technologies into market. Why is that? Well, that is because what is old is new again. In 2020, the Corporate Innovation Lab was reborn. Diversifying business models to include digital products, this is a proven way to more quickly adapt to major economic shifts. All these brands that you see on your screen right now, they either launched or rebranded their labs or launched a new tech venture from their lab. And some of the milestones that caught our eye: in March, Kroger developed and deployed something called, they partnered with Everseen Visual AI technology to deploy a solution to stores, which helped customers complete self-checkout. Of course, this is really important as we move to contactless and trying to deal with new biosecurity requirements. In August, Walmart rebranded to Walmart Global Tech and shifted their focus to online and mobile competitiveness. Wonder why that happened. Cough, Amazon, cough. But the most important, or most interesting rather, example to us is Stanley Black & Decker. They did something really cool. They partnered with an AI-powered workforce training solution called Deep How on a workforce upskilling program. What is this? Essentially, they implemented a solution that captures the accumulated knowledge of their more tenured employees, how they do specific things using voice and audio input, essentially. And the people that essentially are closer to retirement but know how to do everything, their guidance was captured, and now it can be taken, collated, and used towards training new employees. So when you're looking to learn how to do new task X and you don't know how to do it, well, you can search through this platform and you get queued up recommendations in terms of videos to view, and you can get guidance and teach you how to do certain things. So what this shows us is a new venture doesn't necessarily have to be a new product per se to the external market. It can be an initiative to improve employee efficiency and improve the employee experience. Think about how much better it is now that you have all that information at your fingertips, much easier for you to be able to do your job. Polling question number 2. Number 2, this second question is, which of the following activities does your organization either support today or has supported in the past? And it's a question about innovation. Lots of hackathons. Wow.
Okay. 8. Come on.
I think we had 13 last time, so let's try to at least meet our record there.
We're 10. Come on. I'd vote if I could, but I can't. At 11. And 2 more people. Click buttons. I think 11's what we're going to get.
11's what we're going to get. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, interesting. The winner here was a lot of organizations seem to have their an internal innovation lab or a what we call a digital factory. So this is like a flavor of an innovation lab that's focused on launching digital products. A lot of folks have tried hackathons. That's awesome. This is how it relates sort of to our survey base here, kind of similar actually in terms of the distribution, almost in terms of the proportions at least, almost exact. Interesting. Now the question really is, has IT, or to what extent has IT been invited to play in the innovation space as well, or is this a business led initiative, or rather is it open to IT's participation, and is that participation happening early enough so that what comes out of it isn't just like, hey, we did a thing, can you just can you configure it now for us, and can you scale it now that we've done it already? So this after the fact involvement is a pain from IT's perspective, and so what do you do about that? Well, one of the things that, or one of the questions that we found really interesting is, what is the difference between a chief innovation officer and a chief information officer. How do these two constructs differ? And from a chief innovation officer perspective, what do they have that a CIO does not have? Well, typically they will have, of course, none of the CIOs on the call today, but those other ones, typically a chief innovation officer has more advanced business skills, typically around go-to-market strategy. That's one of the consistent themes that we see. Go-to-market strategy, what's that all about? That's about introducing new products into the market with a tactical plan, not just saying we're going to get 10% of our user base to adopt solution X. We're going to conquer individual niche markets in their totality. So all the business users in geography 1 will be using this, and then we'll move on to geography 2, and so on and so forth, having a plan, having a sequential order to that plan. Also doing things like market sizing, or having like a benefits realization type of calculation for what the impact is going to be. Now, what chief innovation officers don't have that chief information officers do have, this is more along the lines of technical expertise. CIOs actually know how this stuff actually works, and those two things combined, well, that's quite an opportunity. It's an opportunity to help the business with some pains. In particular, okay, what are the pains, and what should IT do about them? The first one we've been talking about is this uncertainty around machine learning, and what should be done there. Well, one of the things that we recommend is IT propose the establishment of a center of excellence construct focus on machine learning. From a IT process perspective, one of the areas to be improved to support that would be innovation management. This is all about having a pipeline of ideas, and making sure that or a funnel of ideas, and making sure that those ideas eventually, some of them, the good ones, make it to business case and POC. Now, a little bit more nuance here, focusing the COE on that more strategic side of machine learning, those pre-sales activities. How can you help product development figure out what products they should be building? Can you help the CEO with more real-time information and advice? That's the opportunity there. That's pretty green field right now. The next challenge is all the skilled developers, AI developers at least, seem to be working in advertising. They seem to be all working for Google. Why is that? And how do we get around that? Well, open tactics can help get access to the crowd's help. Sometimes they need incentives, but it's possible. So the question is, how can IT build a better sandbox and empower other creators inside the organization and outside of the organization? And that's an important question, because the next thing to think about is, could somebody combine these two trends, your machine learning by design and your citizen development, to create something that would deliver more value to your customers than you are doing right now, which leads us to the third pain, the fear of disruption. And what we would recommend to be done about this is learn how to do go-to-market strategy. It's a specific business skill around bringing new ventures to market. It's totally something that a chief information officer should add to their toolkit if they're looking to become more of a chief innovation officer. So you heard it here first. Okay, let's get into the second set of trends, our absorb trends. And folks, we're going to have some time for questions at the end. That's kind of why I'm going so fast. But if there are questions that pop up, I'm not watching the chat, but please, Derek and company, if there's one that you want to pause me on, please. If not, I'm going to keep motoring. Okay.
Keep motoring, David, because we do have 9 minutes. How do you think we're doing on time?
Oh, 9 minutes. We are short on time. So, okay. I'll go way faster then.
All right, thank you.
I might have to skip some stuff, unfortunately, but that's okay. So if the first three trends scare you, the last three trends may be barriers, and they may be the reasons why. And so let's get into it. Trend number 4, distributed autonomous organizations. This is collaborating without a central hub, taking control of the work day. How do we enable a distributed workforce? Now, a lot of the organizations, 44% in fact, that we spoke to, they feel like they won't be ready to operate without a central work hub for at least another year. So this is essentially, a lot of organizations just are holding onto their seats and saying, yeah, it's going to revert to some semblance of what things were before. There's certain things that we're just not going to be able to do in a remote work environment, and that's okay. And it is, unless it's not, right? And this is kind of surprising, but a lot of organizations are not necessarily ready to do this. So let's unpack this a little bit. What is this trend all about? Oh, 3 A's: automated workflows, augmentation, using AI to augment remote work scenarios, specifically through the provision of advice, of insight. At Infotech, we're on our 2nd AI assistant already for our remote sales force. So this is providing recommendations for improvement. And things like that. If I've got a question for Alicia, do I need to go and tap her on the shoulder, or can I be provided an assistant that can help me with that? Increasingly, yes. And the 3rd A is autonomy, a cultural and technological challenge. Interestingly here, in terms of enabling organizational autonomy, we're seeing blockchain actually play a renewed role here. Specifically in the healthcare sector. Everyone knows this is a really hot and important sector. In a nutshell, one of the things that's been happening here is because of bottlenecks in terms of credentialing, providing the right credentials, we're seeing a dearth of healthcare professionals able to enter the market, whether they're recently retired or just graduated students wanting to jump in. The bureaucracy is in the way. Enter ProCredX, which is a blockchain platform. I would explain this more, but I don't have much time. So I'm just going to tell you that they're helping with this, and they've completed more than 200 million credential verifications already. That's a lot of credential verifications already. So using blockchain to address a process that was previously centralized, decentralizing it through emerging technology. Awesome. Really beneficial in terms of resilience. And it's important. We need to be resilient because disruption can come from anywhere. In fact, we surveyed our client base, and where they think the next disruption is going to come from is in the regulatory / government / cyber domain. This is what people are scared of happening next, which is where trend number 5 comes in: self-sovereign cloud. The changes to how we manage the cloud environments. Half of organizations are worried about how regulation is going to impact their strategies because of things like GDPR, CCPA, all the 4-letter acronyms you can think of. Of course, there's also, from a security perspective, new security threats. IP theft is a big concern. Lots of organizations see this increasing. Thank you for all those new entry points. IoT. Another example to go through here. Like I said, I'm going fast. Okay, Aptum, APTUM is a cloud provider that we think you should pay attention to. Why? Because they provide a machine learning capability within their cloud management platform. It conducts forensics on workloads, forecasts outcomes for value and costs, helps you manage your workloads from a performance and cost perspective. Also, customers can understand where their data is geographically and apply policy sets automatically to help them maintain compliance. What's this trend all about? It's about balancing these 3 things: optimizing infrastructure from a cost and performance perspective, end-to-end encryption, including while data is being processed, and having control over data residency, meeting new data sovereignty requirements in various jurisdictions. This is an area that is heating up, of course. Just when you thought the Cambridge Analytica scandal was going to just fade away, they launched a Netflix documentary, and everybody knows about it, and everybody's upset about it. Now, as the example I just spoke about showed, we're starting to see cloud management platforms that are using AI to make recommendations about where to run the workloads. Okay, what do you need to know as IT leaders? Can you explain how those algorithms work? If I'm telling you anything about this, that's something for you to figure out. Understand how the algorithms work that are providing these recommendations, because it's going to be part of the basis upon which you evaluate these cloud management platforms on. And you're just going to need to know how it works and be able to explain it. No one else except for you. Okay. From a regulation perspective, there's one key thing that's not really on many people's radars, but should be. This is the Paris Climate Accord. Of course, we're about 3 days away from the end of the 30-day window to figure out what that looks like. What it's supposed to look like is a 30% reduction in industrial emissions by 2030. Enter the final trend. We're wrapping up. We're getting here. Trend number 6 is digital sustainability, using digital technologies to drive emission reduction and cost efficiency at the same time. How quickly is this space evolving? How much investment is going into climate-related technologies? Well, over the past 10 years, you might think maybe a couple 100%, pretty fast, but not as fast as it actually is happening. What's actually happening is a 3,750% increase in investment into the space. That's more than anything else. More than anything else, essentially. More than AI, the most investment going into this. And so new sector being created, climate-related technologies. You heard it here first, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you knew that already. But awesome opportunity for emerging technology to play a role to help us transition to more carbon-free renewable energy sources, help us capture carbon, etc. It's on Microsoft's radar for sure. They've made a commitment to transition to 100% renewables. They also provide a sustainability calculator to their Azure clients, help you report on the impact of IT. Spoiler alert, you're going to be asked to do this. At least we believe you are. Another example, really cool, Google DeepMind applying their DeepMind algorithm to reduce data center cooling costs by 40%. That's a lot of money saved and a lot of emissions cut, and a big impact in terms of trust. So what do you do about this? From a collaboration perspective, workforce strategy. From a regulation perspective, some more cognitive operations. Can you use AI-assisted operations to better manage your cloud environment? And finally, is it time for IT to accept accountability for carbon impact and help the business do something about it? Yes. In conclusion, how do you apply these technologies to become more regenerative, to thrive through change? From a people perspective, how can you apply these technologies to our human capital, help them become more self-sufficient? From a process perspective, bake innovation into what you do. And from a technology perspective, modernize the engine that runs the organization. That's the challenge that we currently face. And to get us started, one piece of homework here. I'm not leaving you completely off the hook. I answered the first question for you. This one I won't. In what scenarios can you apply these technologies to improve the human experience, help make someone's life better, whether they work for you or they're one of your customers, a citizen, patient, etc. Help people bounce back when something bad has happened, help them become more resilient, and or help build and maintain trust between your stakeholders. And scene. Folks, thank you so much.
David, thank you so much. My goodness, so quick. We didn't have any questions in the chat, but for those that have questions, you can email them directly to me, and I will take them offline, get them back to David. Again, thank you very much for the details. This package will be available to everybody. So the membership, you'll get the full package, everything that David presented, as well as a recording. So thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Bipin.
All right, David and Alicia, thank you so much.